Make it. Yes, sir. Let's see if this will work. Let me put this there, and I think that's going to be perfect for you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Much better. I'm a pretty soft-spoken person, and compared to all of you, the difference gets magnified, so thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm Randall Lewis. Thank you all for letting me be here. I don't know how many years I've done this. I'm assuming it's at least 10 or 11. Yes. This is my favorite presentation of the year. I come out of here with so many ideas and so much energy. You are all the heroes in our marketplace. You're the entrepreneurs. You're the ones who make it happen. You keep us in business. So thank you for coming today, and thank you for letting me be here. And I'm thrilled to be in Rancho Cucamonga. It's a city where we do so much work, and it's just a great place to do business. And actually, we are thrilled to be doing stuff in the Inland Empire. Through this group, SCAG, I get involved in a bunch of cities. We have it so good with cities like Upland and Rancho and Chino and Ontario, Montana. You need to deal with other cities to make you appreciate just how great it is here. I see two people in the audience I want to recognize, Bill Velto and Ryan Hutchinson. I don't know if Bill Rue is here or not, usually, but guys, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for fighting for this industry, and thank you for fighting for business. When you're in California, you need all the help you can get, so thank you so much. And we've got a lot of Lewis staff today. They're so outnumbered, but can all the Lewis team members just stand up and be recognized? So this year's presentation will be a little bit different. I'm going to talk a little bit less, because the last couple of years people have come up and said you talked too long and you didn't leave enough time for Q&A, so I'm going to be talking a little bit less. But I'm here as long as you want. And I'm going to talk about the marketplace. I'm going to tell you all the neat stuff that we're working on. I'm going to talk a little bit about some trends. I went through a presentation yesterday with a great architect on sort of what's on the board. So I'll share some of the things that have been coming to our marketplace. My forecast, what I think is going to happen, and I'm not an economist, and you heard it earlier, things are really good now, but I'll give you what I think is going to happen, and then some advice for you. So first, 2020, 2019. You know, there was a movie a few years ago called As Good As It Gets. This is as good as it gets. You all are going to look back at January 2020 and say it doesn't get any better than now. So enjoy yourselves, work really hard, make a lot of money, but it's not going to last forever. But 2020 is going to be a really excellent year. On the for sale side, we are seeing, and our world's the new home world, we're seeing very strong demand. Normally Christmas is a bad week, January's not a very good month, and then after Super Bowl it starts to pick up. We had the best history in the best January in the history of our company of selling land to other home builders and selling houses. So this is as good as it gets on the new home side. We're in this weird situation when you have interest rates at 3.5, when you have unemployment at 3.5, it just doesn't get any better than that. Things are in balance. Life is good, and we need to all enjoy it. In terms of the apartment market, it's the same situation. Life is really good right now. Rents are good, occupancies are good. Rents haven't been going up that much, which is really good for the economy and good for all of us to not have rents go up. We want to see, as a landlord, steady rent growth. We don't want to see incredible rent growth because it just causes so many problems. There's a lot of new projects coming. There's a lot of good product out there. One black thing on the horizon on rent. California passed a rent control program recently, and I actually think as a landlord what they did was a good thing. The rents are high, and I think having something to govern where the rents are is probably a good thing. Normally I hate things like rent control. I think what they passed was okay. The biggest worry as a landlord, the biggest worry for any of you if you own rental properties, isn't with the rent control today, but there's a chance that it's going to get changed for the worse 2 years from now or 4 years from now. So rent control generally it's not good, but it's okay, we can live with it. The retail market continues as it's been. There's tremendous disruption. I think 1,200 stores across the country have already closed. A lot of them have been in this area. That's going to continue. But the new centers that we're doing, keep getting filled, which is really encouraging. And I think on the shopping center business, there's what's called a flight to quality, that whether you're opening up a resale office or whether you're opening up a drugstore, a Starbucks, you want to go where the best is. And so when we do new projects, our competitors' new project, most of them are doing really well. The shopping centers we're doing going forward, almost none of them sell any products you can buy on the internet. So the new centers are going to be maybe a grocery store, maybe a drugstore, probably a Starbucks or something like Starbucks, and then a bunch of restaurants and services. And so that's going to be the future of retail. You're going to keep seeing stores going broke. You're going to keep seeing more and more food, more and more entertainment, more and more services. But right now it's good. The office market we're not that involved in. And we're not seeing a lot of new office construction. And there's a disconnect now that's causing that. So the cost of new office construction is so high that the rents in this marketplace aren't good enough to support a lot of new office. So I think generally you're going to see the office market pretty stable. I just don't think you're going to see a lot of new offices being built. The biggest bright spot of all is the industrial market. A report came out this morning that the Inland Empire is the biggest market in the United States in industrial growth. It's going to continue as long as there's land. And it's funny to say that because you look at the Inland Empire and you look at the places to the east where most of the industrial is going, and you go, God, there's land everywhere. But there actually isn't land everywhere. These big industrial buildings might take 50 acres or 75 acres. And we are going to run out of industrial land probably 5 years from now or 6 years from now. Till then, the industrial market here will continue, I think, to be the best industrial market in the United States. And there's some who think it'll be the best industrial market in the world. And that's good for all of us. It brings a lot of jobs. It brings a lot of shopping power here. In terms of our company, 2019 was the busiest year in our history ever. When we were a home builder in the late 90s, we thought we were crazy busy. We usually had about 3,000 sales and we had about 50 projects going. We are busier than that now. We've got planned communities throughout California, Nevada. We're building new shopping centers, new apartments, new industrial projects. So we are crazy busy, but we're happy about that. We hold a company breakfast every year for our Southern California employees, and we had it yesterday at Fairplex. I think we had 520 people working out of just our Southern California office. That is by far the biggest our company has ever been. So this is exciting times at the Lewis Group of companies. I want to just talk about some of the projects we got. And Mo talked about the first one, which is the biggest thing for us, and it's the resort. And as he said, there's going to be a grand opening on February 8th. 4 of the projects are already open, and then one of them opens up on the 8th. And this, I've got to give a compliment to everybody in this room. Every time I've spoken in the past, you guys have said, why doesn't somebody build single-level living? Why doesn't do something for the people who want to move out of those 2,800-foot houses you sold 10 years ago and 20 years ago? So finally at the resort, somebody's got a project with single-level living, elevators served, prices in the mid-4s, and it's off to a really good start. So thanks to you for giving us that advice, and we're going to keep doing more projects with single-level living. And you guys are the experts, and we listened, and we're happy about that. That video about the resort didn't do it justice. It's an excellent video. And the resort's just at ground zero, but it'll be the coolest project we have ever done as a company. And we as a company, and Randall especially, we are not cool people, we're not exciting people. The resort is a cool project and it's an exciting project. And it's just gonna get better and better. We're just at the ground zero. Ultimately, you'll have somewhere between 2,600 homes and 3,400 homes. Probably will be half for sale and half for rent. We just got approved at Rancho Cucamonga Planning Commission last week. What we're calling Homecoming 2.0. It'll be a rental community of over 850 apartments, all new floor plans, all new clubhouses, incredible amenities. And then as we go north of 6th Street and as the project continues, we're going to be bringing in over 100,000 feet of mixed use. Hopefully we can get somebody who serves Jameson's. I'll have to pass that on to our team. Now that you all are Jameson people. We're going to have a program with Metrolink, almost certainly, where people can get discounts on rides if they buy there through Metrolink. But it's really going to be a fun project. So whether you make it the 8th or some other time, try to see it, because there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you to do business with your customers at the resort in the future. Most talked about some of our other projects, the Preserve and Shady Trails and Arboretum and Harvest and Upland. We've got a lot of them. Outside, we've got people here with handouts. We've got a lot of opportunities at our master plan communities. A couple of new things. One is a project a little bit out of your trade area, but we're pretty excited about it. It's a project called Hamner Place. It's in Eastvale. It's next to the Norco Silver Lake Soccer Complex. That's an incredible soccer complex. The City Hall of Eastvale is going to be moving there. I think a library is going to be moving there. One of the best hotels in the Inland Empire is going to be moving there. So if you ever happen to be in Eastvale, look for a project called Hammer Place. It'll start construction, I think, at the end of this year. It's going to be a very, very exciting project. At Foothill and Milliken and Rancho Cucamonga on the northwest corner, a place where there's always been a pumpkin patch, just getting approvals to do over 600 apartments, and there'll be more affordable apartments than we've typically have done. We've worked closely with the Rancho staff and Planning Commission, and I think it's going to be a very exciting project. One thing I know we're going to do, because one of the planning commissioners asked, like, somehow we're going to have artwork with pumpkins, because he said his family misses the pumpkin patch, so he said we're going to have a pumpkin theme there. It's going to be really a fun project. We're also working north of what was Citizens Business Bank Arena, now there's a Toyota Arena, at a project that was called Piemonte. We're going to do a shopping center at the southeast corner of 4th and Haven. I hope we can get it started by the end of this year. That area right now is actually underserved. It's going to have a grocery store, a drugstore, some restaurants. Very different architecture for our company, very different architecture for the Inland Empire. So we're pretty excited. Also at Piemonte, 2 new home projects are going through the city of Ontario now. Both of them are high-density projects with the target to have as much product as possible in the 300,000s and the low 400,000s. That's one other thing you all have been saying to us. Why do the builders only build stuff at $500 to $1 million? Give us some stuff in the 400s or 300s our customers can afford. We've listened. Those things will come online probably in 2021. And then one other project I'll mention, which is not normal for us, but I just wanted to throw it out. We've become a pretty good-sized industrial developer. We redeveloped the Rialto Airport, and there's some giant industrial buildings there. We're now about 1/3 of the way through a project next to Marchfield in Riverside that's going to have almost 9 million square feet of industrial. Amazon's there, UPS is there, Burlington Coat is going there. We're going to be working on that project for 5 or 6 more years. I don't think there's any business for you other than when you get stuff from UPS or you order from Burlington Coat or Amazon. There's a good chance it's going to come from one of those big buildings. So we're pretty committed to the industrial business. We didn't realize how big a market it is, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger part of our activities. So let's talk about what's coming in the future. I mean, nobody knows, and I'm not an economist, but my hunch is that 2020, at least the first 6 months, it's just going to be a fantastic. And I say fantastic in a different way. It's not going to be 2005 or 6 fantastic, where people are camping out, where people are just speculating. It's going to be fantastic that it's just going to be a very, very good, solid year. Not that much price appreciation, but there will be price appreciation. There's going to be a very good balance between supply and demand. And what's especially neat, the new home builders, most of them are doing incentives. They realize that if they want to keep the market going, they need some incentive to keep the home buyers excited. So we think that the market for the new home is going to be very, very good. We're a little concerned long-term about what's going to happen just to the economy. I know that some of our people went to hear an economist yesterday, 2 days ago, who we respect quite a bit, and his sense was that we were going to get a recession in 2020. And what he said is he now thinks the odds of a recession are 25% this year. I have to say he thought the odds in 2021 were 75%. I don't know if they're picking the Chiefs or the 49ers, so I don't even know if he's accurate. But I just wanted to give you that sense that most of the people, like this economist, are pretty bullish on this year. They see some storm clouds, but they don't think they're going to hit us bad. But almost everybody does think that 2021, and if not 21, 22, it's going to turn. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But really enjoy it while we can. We think it's going to be good. Another thing that we're going to see, which is probably good for all of us in this room, there's going to be continued pressure in California to do more housing. There was a major housing bill, SB 50, that got voted down for the third time, but something's going to come out of it. And right now there's sort of what are called the housing wars going on between California and the local cities. And it's a situation where both sides are right and both sides are wrong. But the state of California is saying to a lot of the cities, hey cities, most of you are not allowing enough housing. It takes too long to build in your city. There's too many barriers, too many fees. We as Sacramento need to do something. We're never going to get enough housing otherwise. That's where California's right. Where they're probably wrong and where the city, and Bill and Ryan can relate to this, where the cities are concerned is saying, wait a minute, we want local control. Who knows Upland better than Bill Velto? Who knows Rancho better than Brian? What do we want Sacramento telling us how to do housing projects in our city? And the answer is that about half the cities, and most of the ones in this room, get the housing challenge, are doing everything they can to make housing happen. But boy, where the state is right, there's at least half the cities that are really jerks on housing. They make it very difficult to build. So I don't know how these housing wars will play out, but there's going to be continued pressure from Sacramento to make cities build more housing, especially near transit and especially near jobs. A big part of that battle, in my intro, they said I work for I'm part of the Southern California Association of Governments, is where this new housing should be and what kind of housing it should be like. And so housing is expected to solve all the problems of society. And we as a developer think if we have an impact on schools or roads or parks, we have an obligation. If we have an impact, our home buyers, our renters should pay for it. But now they're asking housing to do a lot more. They want housing to solve the climate change issues. They want housing to pay for the new freeways. They want housing to pay for a lot of social programs. And so these battles are going to go on over what kind of housing and where should it be. And one of the biggest battles that impacts us is a lot of people are saying, well, don't do a lot of housing in the Inland Empire. Put it in downtown LA near the job centers. And that's a neat idea, unless you've got a family in Fontana or Rancho or Upland or Ontario, and you don't want to drive to LA, and you already have a really good job working out here. So I think it's going to be really incumbent on us to work with our local electeds to try to say, hey, we want housing in the Inland Empire. It's got to be done right. It's got to be done in the right places. But these efforts to drive housing just in downtown LA, I think are really short-sighted and going to be bad for all of us. The other housing issue that I am not an expert in, but it's something we ought to figure out, is the homeless issue. I mean, when you go to LA now or some of the other parts of Orange County or even here, the homeless situation is just a tragedy. And I think all of us in the industry have an obligation to think, how can we help with it? I know Upland and Rancho have been leaders in trying to find solutions. I think if any of you have been called to be on committees or submit ideas, get involved. As a society, we've got to figure out how to solve the housing for the homeless. It's just a tragedy that's happening in the United States. Now a couple trends and some final advice. So yesterday we sat through, Andy Hansel was at our office, and I sat through a presentation, what's coming to the Inland Empire and product for next year and the years after. One of them is density. There's going to be more and more projects where there are detached houses at 10 to an acre, 15 to an acre, duplexes at 18 to an acre, townhouses and flats at 20 and 25 to an acre. There's really a push for density that's going to be coming. And it goes back to this, how often can people afford 600? Not that often. How often can they afford to pay 400? A lot. You'll see a lot of density. But what comes with it, the bad news is it comes with high homeowners association dues, and it comes with high CFDs or mellow leases or some other financing mechanism. I think the good news for all of you, it probably makes those resale houses that you're representing, so many of them, even a better bargain. But the good news for you also, if you've got someone who says, well, I don't want that 20-year-old house, there's going to be a lot of affordable choices. They are going to have homeowners associations, they are going to have assessments, but they're going to have lower prices, and they're going to be energy efficient, and they're going to be really fun floor plans. So I think that's one of the trends. Another trend that's going to be driven more by planning departments, unfortunately, than by the marketplace, is the move toward urban architecture and contemporary architecture. And what we're seeing in the markets here that's just beginning to come, and we're seeing that some amount, in some cases it might be 40% or 50 or 60, really like it. But some amount of people, it could be 40 or 50, 60%, really hate modern architecture or urban architecture. My own sense as a developer is we should let the marketplace choose, and we should let the builders choose, because they're the ones who listen to the customers more than anybody. But you're going to see a lot of contemporary and modern architecture, flat roofs and very square designs. So keep your eyes out, and if you get customers that really hate that stuff, send them to your resales. But if you get some of the lower or younger customers, they may really love the new architecture, so that's going to be a big, big shift. I think you're going to continue to see more gated communities just because of the times we live in. There's crime almost everywhere. And you're going to see more really energy efficient houses. California leads the United States, and in some ways most of the world, in energy efficiency. So I think you'll see a greater push towards solar energy, towards energy of housing usage that'll be net zero houses. So I think you're going to see more expensive houses, but with energy bills that are really very, very low. In terms of the interest rates, and I wish you had talked about it this morning, there's this crazy thing called negative interest rates. In a big part of the world, some of the biggest countries, interest rates are going down to 1%, in some cases negative interest rates. You have to pay to get a bank to store your money. I don't understand it. Most people think it's not going to come here, but it is spreading. So there's as much pressure for interest rates to go down as there is to stay the same. And that's just something interesting to watch, because I don't know if you could say this is the bottom of the race. They may go down a little bit because of that, or they may stay close to where they are. The reason these interest rates go down, though, is because there's a real global slowdown coming in the economy. And it's happening all over the world, where things are just slowing down. And we in the Inland Empire are living in this fantasy land right now. Luckily, that's why it's as good as it gets, where we've got low interest rates, low unemployment, the economy is booming, while everywhere else in the world they're really struggling. My own sense is we are not going to be immune if there are global slowdowns. I don't know what you think, but I just think if it gets bad everywhere else, it's probably going to slow down here. Let's hope it's not 20, let's hope it's not 21, but I think it is going to be coming. So what does that mean for all of you? I think what it means, and some years I say take a vacation, you're not going to sell anything. Some years I say tell your friends to buy. My advice this year, work as hard as humanly possible. If you are ever going to make money, it's going to be in 2020. If you're ever going to have friends that you're going to say you should buy a house, tell them to buy now. These are just incredible times. Work like a dog, or work like two dogs. But save some of your money. Be like the fables about the grasshopper and the ant and stuff. It's not going to be this good forever. There's tremendous opportunity. I think it's going to be an incredible year. Take advantage of it, but don't keep buying new Mercedes or BMWs. It's going to slow down. And then something Mo talked about that I just want to end with.